If you're still writing brand new workout programs every single time that somebody signs up, you're wasting hours of time that could be spent actually growing the business. And today we're going to be completely automating this for one of my clients, Zoe. This is not only a system that automates the programming, but it's also going to learn and get smarter over time.
Back when I was a full-time coach, programming was one of the biggest work blocks in my week and ended up being a bit of a mental block too. Not because I hated programming, but because every time I was writing up new programs, I was writing the same programs over and over and just making small tweaks to make it adjust for the person. And even though it was only small tweaks, it would still be an hour later by the time I would finish all the programming. So here's what we're building today.
So this is what we're building today. Every time that you take on a new client, this system is going to grab the details from this client's intake form. It's then going to look through all the programs that you have made and select the most appropriate program. Now to do this, we're going to set up a few different systems and automations, but it's going to be a complete tutorial, step by step. You can just follow me and this would work whether you're using Everfit or using Trainerize.
Let's get into this. Today we have kind of three parts to this setup, automation, whatever you want to call it. But for us to be able to have the programming automatically done for each of the new clients that come on, we need to first set up a table to be able to house almost like a database of all our programs. We also have to set up some AI prompting or maybe a chatbot. We're going to use a chatbot in this instance. And then we just have to set up a Zap to basically link everything together. So the software that we're going to be using today is a Typeform. You could use a different type of form like Google Forms or something like straightforward. You don't have to use Typeform for this one specifically, but we're going to use Typeform because I always use it with my clients. It's just, it's the best. Then we're also going to be using Tables by Zapier. So Tables by Zapier is essentially just like a spreadsheet where we can hold some data where we'll have the name of the program, the ID of the program. Is it for beginners? Is it for intermediate, advanced? You know, what is it? And then after that, then we're going to be using Zapier just as creating a normal Zap to link everything in together. Now, this can be done with Everfit and this can also be done in Trainerize. We're going to use Trainerize in this instance with this client. Just because it's going to be easier for me to test it on this Trainerize first and then put it onto their Everfit after, but it works the exact same way regardless of which one you're using. So yeah, let's get into it. So there's three parts to this. The first part is some data collection. The next part then is getting the right program. And then the last part is adding the right program. So let's break this down step by step where you can literally follow along, copy everything that I do. And yeah, let's try to make this as simple as possible. So first thing that we need is I need you to have a range of different programs created for your clients. It might look something like this. So this is a very basic version of it. Ideally, you want to have a lot more programs than this created, but let me just zoom in a little bit to make this easier. So we want to have all different programs that range in terms of experience, frequency, time, equipment available, and then maybe any like tweaks or changes that we need to a specific program. So for example, these last two programs, they're both for beginners. They're both 4 days per week. They're both about 30 minutes long. They're both dumbbell only, but the only difference is this one does not have spinal loading. Just if there's any injuries or anything like that in the client's intake form, this will flag it here. So we need to create a table like this. And to do that, it's really, really simple. First, we just want to go into Zapier, go to tables, create table. And then we're just going to create fields. So we're going to click to add a new field here. And then you're going to decide, right, what is it? I'm just using a drop-down field. So we have options of like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of programming. We have options then for how long it's going to be for the time. And then we have options for the actual equipment then as well. And then once you do that, just go load in all the training programs that you have and categorize them. So where exactly do they match in there? So upload the name of the program, forget about the ID just yet, and then upload, you know, what is it? Is it beginner, intermediate, advanced, frequency? And then once you have that done, that's kind of mapping out your programs for the AI or the chatbot to see like, right, this is what we have available. And then not only is this a good way to start off by trying to organize our programs, but it creates like a feedback loop. So if you give somebody, let's say, this program, and that gets assigned to their profile, and you're like, you know what, I just need to tweak it slightly for this client, then we could just duplicate it here, write down the slight tweaks that we made, so the changes. So for example, without spinal loading, or it could be like extra volume on the shoulders, or no overhead pressing, or whatever the changes are that you make to the programming, because that's often all you're really doing is making small changes to your skeleton programs. And then log it here, because then the more you do that, it creates like almost like a feedback loop. So it's like an ever growing system that continues to get better and better and better the more that you use it. So task number one, pause the video right now, go set up a table like this of all the different programs that you have. It will really let you see where exactly you are in terms of like enough programming. And then like if you wanted to do it like fully, really you would want beginner, intermediate, advanced. So that's three different types. And then in each of them, you'd want 4 different frequencies. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week, let's say. So then that's multiplied by that, multiplied by, let's say, shorter and longer workouts, and then multiplied by 4 different types of equipment. You probably have about 40 different beginner programs that they could possibly end up on. Same with intermediate and same with advanced. Now, don't go trying to create 120 programs right now. That would just be a massive hassle and you'll be procrastinating. But over time, you will generally need about 120 programs, skeleton programs, for it to perfectly match with your clients. But that will just build up over time, you just slightly adjusting as you go along. Now, pause the video, go get set up like this. Once you're ready, then we'll move on to the next step. So next step now, once we have all our programs created, is we have this part here about IDs. That I just have them labeled 1 to 12, but that actually needs to be updated to actually match what's going to be inside your training app. But before that, we're going to go create a prompt to a chatbot. Well, for us, we're using a chatbot. You could use some JavaScript where you say, hey, here's all the details. Go look at all this and figure out what's going on. I think that the most straightforward way to do this is to go create a chatbot. So this is one of the ones that we're building for the client at the moment. So it's a client level accountability and results assistant. And essentially, we can give it knowledge bases, so we can load in some knowledge. So we're loading in that programming table. So if I click sync now, we can set it on a schedule to sync automatically. But if I say sync now, that chatbot now has access to everything that is on that table. So then now we can basically just give that chatbot some instructions. So to do that, we create a Zap and Zapier, and we say, hey, we're going to give you the information. You then go see what the information is from the client and see which program is best suited. So if you need to go edit your intake form to make sure that it contains questions that would have the following options, so beginner, intermediate, and advanced, to make sure that it's labeled the exact same way as you do on the table, I'll give you time to go do that now. So go pause the video, edit your intake form so that it has those options, and then complete one sample run of it. So just fill it in as if you were a client, just so that you'll have some sample data when you pull into Zapier. So then once you have that complete, we can then go create this automation here, which is actually going to tie it all in together. So the first thing that we need to do is just get that information from that prospect. So when they complete their intake form, we're grabbing that data and then we're able to put that into the chatbot. So for me, I'm using Typeform. I'm just saying intake form copy, and I did a test one. I modified some data in there just so that we could see with different email addresses, was it working and stuff. But what's crucial is inside there, I asked the following questions, so we can see here. Please rate your experience. So I have beginner, 3 days, 30 minutes, dumbbell only. So that's generally what I'd be looking for. I have edited ones here where it's different. Where are we here? 3 days, 30 minutes only. Cool. And then with this is the prompt that we are going to give. So the next step is going to be Zapier chatbots. So just click plus icon, and then you're going to click chatbots. And then of the chatbots that you have, it will give you an option to choose. So right now we have 2 created for that client. So it's going to give me the option of 2 different chatbots whenever my internet allows. Come on. Come on. What's going on? Let's go. I'll just show you inside here. But with the chatbots, you pick the chatbot that you want. So we have two currently. You can put in a conversation key if you want. You don't need to, unless you want to like reference back to that conversation that it will be having in the future, but generally not needed. All you need to focus on is the prompt that you give it. So the prompt that you give it is important with the way that it's going to bring the data back to you. So I'm just going to zoom in and feel free to like copy and paste this or like copy it word for word. So what we're going to say is, I always say hi to the chatbot, but I need you to basically return me the program ID that would be best suited for this new client. So what we're talking about is at the tables, we're saying, hey, I want you to show me the program ID. So like 1 to 12, that would be best suited for the client. We're saying that you have access to the knowledge-based programming, which is that table that we have created. And then this is used as a database of all the current training programs I use for clients. In there, you'll find the following fields. So I just list out the following fields, just here, going across. And then I basically tell it it's directive. You know, your job is to look at the information from the intake form and cross-reference it with the data in the programming table, and then return the value of the field program ID that would be best matched. Then it will have a look at the intake details. So we're going to say intake form details, experience, and then we're going to populate the answer to that question about experience. So to do that, you do / and then start typing. I'll do it here so you can see a little bit better. So to do that, you would do / and then you would start typing whatever it is. So please rate. So that's the question. So I just click that, and then that's going to populate that answer there for me. And then you just do that for all of the different questions that you have in the spaces. And then below that, then I basically say like, right, if there's any changes that need to be made, you know, go look there, and it populates that question as well. And then from there, please only return the field value and nothing else. Example, you know, 10526. So like it's going to just give you the number back because that's all we want. We don't want a sentence saying this program will be best suited, because the next step of the Zap won't read it like that. We just need the actual number and nothing else. So what we'll do is we'll just do a quick run on that, and then we'll adjust the data where we need to. So we'll let that do its thing. If it doesn't return with just a number directly, then it means that we just need to, oh, it did, perfect. If it didn't return with just a number directly, it would just mean that we need to change the prompting a little bit. Now that we have the number directly, that brings us on to the next part about basically just adding it into here and saying, hey, this is the program that you need to give. But one thing that you can do is with this questionnaire that you're giving them, put in a question about if there's any like exercise restrictions or movements that you cannot do, and then please explain as much detail as possible. So I said I can't load my spine. It's wrecked from surgery. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put this into that one. All right, it's already there. Perfect. And what I'll do now is we got given this number one as the one that would be most appropriate. What we can do is we can copy that and then basically give it a prompt like this and say, hey, you know, if there's another program that has, you know, changes without spinal loading, that one would obviously be more suited if it was close to the same type of program, but this one had no spinal loading because that's what they said in their intake form. So you can have that as one of the parameters in the prompts, be like, hey, you know, go look for anything to do with injuries or like exercise restrictions. So possible needs or changes, and then, you know, I can't load my spine, I sort after surgery, and then, you know, they would basically say like, right, well, the program without spinal loading that still matches all of this stuff, that would be best suited then as well, and it would pull that data. So what I'm going to do now is I have to jump on a call with this client just to make sure that we are getting all of the right programs in there and the way that's going to be going. So quick interlude for that, and then we will be back. Okay, after a quick interlude to have a chat with the client to see was everything on the right track and moving forward, we have decided to tweak a few small bits, but otherwise it is bang on. So what I'm going to do is, for this example, I'm going to actually use Trainerize instead of Everfit, just because more people actually use Trainerize than Everfit. Plus, it will just let me mess around with some more sample data before actually loading it into the client's profile. But it works the exact same way, whether you're using Trainerize or whether you're using Everfit. It's the exact same process. So let's get back into it. So we have created all of these sample programs. We have IDs for them. We have different types of them depending on what's going on. And we just set up that little prompt for our chatbot, or use AI if you want. But the chatbot is generally going to work a little bit better. So we set up that prompt where it's going to spit out the value of whatever the one that we want is. Now, I've linked up Trainerize. We're going to use Trainerize here. Otherwise, you would use Everfit. It kind of makes no odds which one you use. It's the exact same process both ways. But what we can do now is we can get this to automatically add that program to the person's profile. So in Everfit, it will just take over their main programming. With Trainerize, we have the option to do that or to have it as an add-on program. So I'm going to say as an add-on program. And then what we're going to do is, instead of select program where we select them here, you see that all of these have ID numbers. So these are all just sample programs I use in my sample Trainerize. But all of these have ID numbers. And then to get the ID number, if you're not sure what they are, rather than trying to go in here and type them out, is when you are on Trainerize and you go to programs, you will see in the URL, when you click on any of them, there is a code that will pop up here. So it will be a series of numbers, generally like 6 to 7 digits. And that is the ID for your training programs. So what we'll do is we will just copy a few IDs and we'll pass that into here and swap out a few of the IDs. So I'll say that's that one. And then we'll just get another one here. We'll say that's that one. Right, perfect. That will do for now. Now, obviously, you will go do that for all the numbers, but we don't need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that it's going to be going for the client. So the email here. Perfect. The start type, you can pick either start immediately or start next Monday. Generally, start the next Monday is going to suit for most people. If you needed to start on a specific date, you could just go put another step before this, where it could be a bit of JavaScript or it could be AI, where you just tell it, hey, find out the date of next Monday or next whatever, so that's always updating. Or if it's a very specific date where it's just going to run for like a challenge, you could set it as the start date of the challenge. And then here, right now, it's like a select option of like, pick from the drop down menu. We don't really want that. What we want is for it to be dynamic and we can actually push in the code. So we'll change this to custom, and then we're going to change this to the value here. So what we'll do now is I'm just going to retest this step, and if I retest this step, hopefully that should give us the output of, oh yeah, I better update this because I haven't got that set as auto updating. Okay, that chatbot should now be updated with the newest data. Normally it will just be set on schedule, but I'm just in this little test mode here, so it's not actually going to find anything. And let me retest that now again. Okay, so we can see here that we got the program ID number of this, and then that should match up one of the programs here. So what we're going to do is we'll continue to the next step. So it's saying that it is now going to add this program as an add-on program to this person inside of here. So let's go check if that is the case. Let me make sure I actually have a client inside here that matches this. Let me see the details here. Yeah, that matches. That's cool. Right, let's go run that Zap as a little test. Just open up the client profile first so that we can see that there's definitely no add-on program here, and it actually does what it's supposed to. Okay, so if I have a look here at the program, I'll just zoom in a little bit, but we can see here that there is currently this, and this here. We don't have anything else. So next Monday is going to be like the 30th, I think. So we should see a program appear for that. So I'll just click test, and then we'll click. Okay, now we're working. All right, there we go. So for whatever reason, I thought it was still a basic account. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense because that just cost me a tenner. But it's the exact same process that you would use with Everfit as well, where we're basically just getting the ID number and then placing that where it's saying, hey, this is the program that you want to use. Now, that was done as an add-on program. If you wanted to change this to be their actual main programming of like exercise that they follow, then you would just say main programs.
So not only did we set up a system that will completely automate the initial programming part for any new client that comes on, but if you want to take this a step further, what you could do is at the end of every coaching block that you do with a client, whether it's 4 weeks, 12 weeks, you could send out like a programming review form. From there, then you could basically get it to repeat the same process, only that we would have one extra input. So if we wanted to do that, we'd have to make sure that they don't get the same program again. And to do that, we'd essentially just add an extra step in the automation where it would look at the person's profile, it would check the last program that they had, so the last ID number of the program, and then from there it would actually go and assign a new program that is similar to that. So yes, there's a bit of a kind of legwork at the start where you have to create different versions of programs and slight tweaks, but you're already doing this. You might as well have it work for you in the future where it's going to automate the entire programming process. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully you're actually going to take some action on this, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it. And if you have any questions on this, just feel free to pop them over to me, either Instagram, Facebook, or website, or wherever you want. And yeah, if you have any questions, I don't know, maybe pop them in the comments or something. And yeah, there's tons more videos like this where I'm showing you tutorials on setting up systems. So hope you enjoyed.